This is Seiya no shiro, literally the white of the holy night, a special limited edition Christmas matcha from Marukyu Koyamaen. And it's something that I have found very fascinating ever since they started making it, or since I discovered it, because there's quite a bit of a playfulness in it. So, Seiya is the holy night, and no shiro literally means it's the white of it. So you have the word game in it of this being like a white Christmas, the white of Christmas night, but it's using what the no shiro also is, the white that is being used to talk about a matcha powder, a matcha that is made for making usucha, whereas oftentimes you have a nomukashi in a chame in a matcha's name. That means that it's made for a koicha. Now, I have a slight problem because I usually drink matcha as koicha, as the thick tea, not as an usucha, the thin tea. But for this, certainly, I do make a difference. I do make an exception, rather, because I find this wordplay all too fascinating. And of course, behind it is also a chance to think a bit about cultural appropriation or cultural adoption again. I keep recently on wanting to put the matcha powder in there already while I'm just warming up the chawan. That is very stupid. So, Christmas, of course, has made its inroads into Japanese culture, or certainly Japanese marketing, even if Japanese aren't usually Christian. Then again, even decades ago, there was already this idea that nowadays a Japanese might be born and die Buddhist, marry with a Shinto ritual, and in between also use some Christian things. Japanese culture tends to not have a big problem with being syncretistic or simply following different religious ideas. That's quite the East Asian thing. And of course, we also see that in many cultural aspects overall, that while we complain about cultural appropriation and sometimes admittedly do some things which are really stupid and just abuse something from another culture for cultural cachet, for exoticism, in East Asia you oftentimes get more of an adoption that integrates ideas from other places and uses them within their own traditions, and does not see it as so much of an issue. It's a big topic that, of course, in the world of matcha sometimes needs discussing, sometimes sensibly, and sometimes we're not going to get anywhere except to agree to disagree. But anyways, we can also agree to enjoy things. So let's see about that. Let's treat it well. So, itadakimasu. It has its sweet smell with a bit of a hint of something that's probably astringent or a bit of a tang. Well, I find this pretty mild, with a nice aroma. There's some strength to it. It's definitely, matcha has some slightly floral, grassy notes. Not much of any peculiar tang. I definitely made it too hot the last time I made it. I tried it the first time this year. So don't do that. Do take care for the proper preparation. And it's very nice, quite rounded, a bit less sweet than some of the high-grade matcha made for Koyamaen, but very drinkable, very nice. Lots of nice, good aftertaste. Can't speak much to creaminess because it's an usucha now, it's a thin tea. So also like this, so mild, so thin. I would not use it for a latte or anything, but for the most part, the matcha that I drink is made for drinking it pure anyways. Definitely, if you want to celebrate Christmas in a matcha way, that's one thing to go for, and to think a bit about what you are missing if you're not looking at the cultural background, at the linguistic background a bit more.